This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio AM. Today is finally Man Down Wednesday. As we match both shows together, Aaron Green is with me. Today is what's trending inside the news, what you want to talk about. You can call us up and we'll go in details and give our opinions on it. But we have one or two things that we want to talk about. I just want to remind people that this show is being sponsored by 2025 CONCACAF Beach Soccer Championships, which is going to be at Malcolm Park Beach Soccer Stadium in Nassau. It's going to start on March 11th through 16th. And of course, you come and watch the John Canoe Boys, which is us, our team, the Bahamas, right? Take on the top teams like Panama and the U.S. It's free to attend. So there's no excuse. You just come in and buy the popcorn and the hot dog, right? So free to attend. Come out and support your team. And again, that's going to be March 16th. March 11th through 16th. And of course, we're supporting the John Canoe Boys, and we want to beat up on Panama and the USA. Mm-hmm. Aaron.
Bahamian games start at 8 p.m. every day.
Okay.
So they timed the schedule to facilitate as much local participation as possible.
You don't have to worry about traffic. You could go home, take a quick shower, and then come back out.
Yeah, bring the kids out. They could do their homework, everything.
A lot of Bahamians play soccer, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a big thing. So it's good to have international teams come out. Before I start, all kind of car accidents and serious car accidents. I know you like talk about car accidents. I say, no, whenever I come in, I can let Aaron talk about what we need to do. Because yesterday, I think it was like 2 or 3.
2 tragic fatalities.
Yeah, man. And then people take pictures and zooming in and showing who what's in it.
Listen, there was one particular video, and while I appreciated seeing the wreckage, what I appreciated even more is that when bystanders observed that cameraman was now focused on the body of the individual, they all admonished the cameraman and tell him, no, not that.
Good.
Not that, right? So it's great to see that cultural part. It was also great to see that the vast majority of people were attending to the scene and trying to discern whether they could help, right? The first wave, the first responders were not cameramen, right? And it's good to see that response. I'm going to read from today's Tribune, Mr. Newry. 2 people were killed in separate traffic accidents, bringing the country's road fatality count for the year to 11. In the second incident, the first incident occurred on Sapodilla Boulevard off of East Street South. The victim was male. In the second incident, Chief Superintendent Sabrina Porter, head of... Oh boy, see page 5, sorry. They have a small little segment. It is not on page 5. The rest of the story. I don't know where it went. Anyway, what we do know is that a woman was the victim in the second traffic fatality. Sorry, the woman was the victim on Prince Charles, and the male victim was. My apologies. The male victim was Prince Charles. The female victim was Sapodilla Boulevard. Tribune. I don't know what happened to the rest of that article. Mr. Newry, I don't want to say much more, except a couple of things. Looking at the vehicle on Prince Charles, it raised concerns about the quality of the vehicle involved in the accident, right? And it makes me think about regulations and requirements for the importation of wrecked vehicles to be resold, right? And I know that the government had focused on, right? I know that they considered that in the series of related legislative amendments, but perhaps it's time to re-examine the law and determine what else can we add to ensure that vehicles on the road are road worthy. Like if a salvage vehicle is imported, then it needs to be denoted as a salvage vehicle, and when it comes in to be licensed everywhere, there has to be a more rigorous type of inspection available to ensure that the chassis, the frame of the vehicle, is still in a condition suitable for road use.
So do we have that type of issue?
Yeah, man, we do. A lot of people have been importing wrecked cars that have been wrecked in accidents like in the US.
Yeah.
And they can bring them in for a low price and then repair them, refurbish them locally, right? And in some instances, the damage that the car incurred in its initial accident is such that it should be written off and scrapped and not used again as a car. And so, yeah, that is possible. Oh, so somebody texted and said it's on page 3, not page 5. All right, so if you just allow me to read further from the article. In the second incident, Chief Superintendent Sabrina Porter, head of the traffic division, said police received a report of a crash on Prince Charles Drive near the Seventh-day Adventist Church shortly before 7 p.m. Officers arrived to find a white Toyota had crashed into a lamp pole. CSP Porter said speed may have been a factor in the accident. The jaws of life had to be used to free the lone male driver who was trapped inside the vehicle. EMS responded and pronounced him dead at the scene. As a result of the crash, streetlights in the area were out. CSP Porter confirmed. In the first incident, a woman died in Pinewood Gardens after two vehicles collided and crashed into a wall. CSP Porter said police received reports of the crash shortly before 3 p.m. It occurred at the intersection of Sapodilla Boulevard and Thatch Palm Avenue and involved a black Toyota Mark X and a black Nissan Cube. According to police, the Toyota Mark X was heading east on Sapodilla Boulevard while the Nissan Cube was traveling north on Thatch Palm Avenue. The vehicles collided at the intersection before crashing into a wall, sustaining extensive damage. Quote, the black Nissan Cube, which was driven by a female, collided into the wall and she was ejected from the driver's seat to the passenger's side, where she was partially outside the vehicle, CSP Porter said. EMS responded and pronounced the woman dead at the scene. The driver of the Toyota Mark X sustained minor injuries and was taken to the hospital for treatment. That's the end of the article. I hope the rest says this is a developing story and we're going to follow up on this. Here's the thing. Mm-hmm. It happened at an intersection. You notice that people stop adhering to stop signs?
Yes. Yes.
They stopped maintaining the right-of-way. I had wanted to make a connection between the conversation we were having about sexual health and rights and driving. I stuck a pin at the end of the show because we sort of treat these two spaces the same way. We don't teach people about sex and we don't teach people, teach them the basics. This is what your genitals are called. This is what your genitals are called. And if you all engage, you're going to make a baby. So go to church and be chaste. Right? And we sort of treat driving the same way. We don't talk about the nuances. We don't talk about the particularities. We don't talk about the details. We don't talk about all the things that could arise while you're operating a motor vehicle. And we need to talk more. How are young people supposed to learn if we don't share with them? First of all, we don't teach them what's on the books and then share with them our experiences, right? So that they can learn how to reconcile personal experience with the rules and figure out how to navigate the world in front of them. Mm-hmm. These are 2 tragic accidents, 11 traffic fatalities by the first week of March is just too much.
Yes. Before we move from traffic, I noticed that the minister, Mr. Sweeting, mentioned about roadside garages.
Yes.
I mean, roadside garages all over the place.
Yes.
But he did mention that some kind of legislation and some kind of property.
Right. So they've identified a piece of property, and I get the impression it may be out west on the Western Terminal Road, off Gladstone Road. Mm-hmm. Somewhere it may be somewhere out there, but the idea is to create a zone, like an industrial car repair zone, and mechanics could rent a space inside that zone to operate their business.
And mind you, this was talked about before.
Yeah.
Right? I always wondered, especially like home mechanics, where you come home from your 9 to 5, and then you have a friend who drop off their car and you fix that. Does that also mean them? Do they need to rent property? Is it trade-off of property? How does that impact people who say, man, I just have 2 or 3 cars in my yard?
All right. So I think it does include them, because here's one of the problems I imagine this policy initiative seeks to solve: the environmental impact of garages, right? On potable water, on soil conditions, right? And so having these operations, all of these smaller mechanics, we like to call bush mechanics, having smaller mechanics in one zone now allows you to apply your environmental response to that one zone, right? It also now creates an opportunity for new industries or expansion of participants in industries to pop up. So if the bush mechanic, the backyard mechanic is outlawed, if you're only allowed to work on your one car, or one car in a yard at a time that you presume is yours, then it means now we have space for more tow truck drivers, because you're going to be required to tow your car from wherever it is disabled to the site, to the repair zone, right?
And what about inner city people who are limited with space, like apartments who don't have yards, people who share common yards, right? Mm-hmm. Do you tell them that you can't keep your wrecked car or a car that needs to be fixed here until you get money to fix it?
Okay, so watch this. Absolutely. There should also be incorporated into this space several tiers of storage lots, right? So we have cars that are about to go into a mechanic to be repaired, but they've been dropped off. Then you have people who are working on it, right? So they tell the mechanic, man, look here, I'm paying you piece, and you work on the car when you can work on it. Mm-hmm. Or you have the car stored at your location. Mm-hmm. You're not going to start working on the car until I make at least 50% down on whatever it's going to cost, but it is stored in this location, right? Because that's also a serious issue in terms of derelict cars. Because what happens if you lose the tenancy? What happens at an emergency, some type of catastrophe, and you move out, but you are unable to move the car? You can leave the car there? Who does the car belong to? Who's legally responsible for the car? And then who can benefit financially from discarding of the car, selling it to a scrapyard if you abandoned it on this property, right? So that is a great consideration. I would also say that if there is an expansion of services like a tow truck service, then I would try to organize at the constituency level, right? Look, we've been able to operationalize 5 tow truck drivers in this community. And they're going to offer a special rate to residents of this community. And all you have to do is produce a voter's card or an NIB card to verify that you live in this constituency. And then you get a constituency rate for towing the car. Yeah. Because moving the car to a more suitable place is also a part of community beautification, maintaining a safe and healthy environment in the community. So why not
it's a big
incentivize?
project, and I see you, caller. I can come to you right now. So, prepare that caller, producer. It's a big project, and it'd be good if the minister gives some more details on the wider scope. This is what we intend. This is what we're working on. This is the overarching view. We have to iron some things out, but this will impact how it impact inner cities, how it impact communities, how it impact big garages, especially those people who have those used cars and they sell parts, whatever it is. The number of the Japanese used cars are in the inner cities next to houses, right? So it should be interesting on how that impacts that.
And then maybe we could call our cousin in Miramar and say to him, sir, the next time we are fortunate enough to benefit from a partnership with you, perhaps we could also look at donating tow trucks so we could reduce the number of people towing.
Well, yeah, man, tow trucks are big business. Let's go to the caller. Go ahead, Guardian Radio AM to CA Newry. How you doing, man? Caller going once, caller going twice, and caller is going. So what else is trending inside the news there?
Tribune headline, yet more failures over disclosures. I think the caller may have called right back, Mr. Newry.
Go ahead, read that, and so the producer prepare the call.
All right, this time, yet more failures over disclosures. This time, mold is blamed for delay on declarations.
No, we got to hold. Let's go to the caller first, because I want to hear about this. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Great church usual. Yeah, and yes, how you doing?
You're right here, man.
Good, thank you.
Hey, right. Okay. Pertaining the vehicles, the damaged vehicles, right? That's being brought into the country, right? Let me explain to you something, because I've been doing this from 1999, and the problem isn't the bringing in the damaged vehicles. The problem is if you're driving almost 85, 90 miles an hour, right? No matter which vehicle you're in, brand new or what, you will more likely get killed in the vehicle. Is that driving practices, which is the problem? The bringing in of the damaged vehicles. Of course, some people doing a bunch of stupidness by cutting the cars in half and putting it together to make a car, but that's far in between. Our driving needs to change. Our driving habits need to change. People simply just don't care on the roads. And plus, I really don't support the idea of having industrial areas to rent places to fix vehicles, right? Because Nassau is not a planned area. Once one person started, right, all type of people would start it in all type of other subdivisions, and it's just going to create a big mess. That's just my opinion on that.
Okay, hold on. The plan is to not allow not allow individual lots to be set up in constituencies. The plan is to set up a singular site in an industrial zone to encourage these operators to move to that site and remove the operation from the community. How you feel about that?
Okay, I'm totally in support of that. The reason why I'm supporting that idea, right, of yours is because just last week we had a problem in the Gladstone Road area where there was a very large fire. You know, when you're coming up from Fusion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Jubilee Garden. That's scrap heap there. Is a very large fire there, and it created havoc on that community. So I totally support that idea of yours.
Thank you.
And before you go, what about, I'm not sure if you do garage work or mechanic work out of your home.
No, I import and export vehicles from the U.S. I bring them in damaged, repair them, and turn it and flip it over. I was actually doing this from 1999 up to present date. So I could very well educate you guys on doing that.
But listen, here's what I want you to do. I want you to create a business model to provide an inspection service for vehicles that inspects the integrity of the frame and the structure of the vehicle. And
actually,
then you...
road traffic's supposed to do it, like how they do in the U.S.
Yeah.
In the U.S., before you get your car license, right, they actually check and verify that all your tires are properly rotated. They put it on the rock and make sure the chassis frame and the integrity of that is intact and everything. So road traffic is actually supposed to be dealing with that area.
I want you to assist them with your...
I have no problem in that. I'll actually do it for free.
Because you got 25 years of experience, which I think can make you a local expert in this area?
It's actually fun back then, but now too much people is involved and just one big, everyone seems to know what they're doing and they ain't know not what they're doing. That kind of way.
I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate this call, man. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. All right.
Okay.
Back to
so
the headline.
We finally got declaration from the parliamentarians, from the MPs. No? We didn't get it? So what's in the news?
I mean, there's something in the news.
Well, let's hear about it. Because how long has it been so far?
It's from the declaration. It's okay. So May 4th, 2022 article in the Nassau Guardian that outside of electoral declarations, declarations for elections, the last time public declarations were gazetted, it was 2011, and those documents only covered up to 2008.
No, I know that.
Okay,
And
okay.
I appreciate you reminding me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, that's good for the listening audience too. I'm talking about for this administration from 2021.
Yeah, from the beginning.
How many times have they declared so far?
None.
None. Or I just once.
None. I mean, just that outside of the election declaration,
Yes.
nothing,
So it's now been 4 years.
essentially.
4 years gone by. And of course, March 31st means it's an anniversary. And over the blue, there's now an article.
Yeah.
There's now an article. So they know.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't know. They know.
Yeah.
And out of the blue, this is an article. And call, I see you. Let me have Aaron read this article and then you can respond again.
What if it's a good bishop? Because I don't want the good bishop to think that when I read this, and I may be making fun of him.
No.
I think that's very important
You think
to
it's beyond the bishop?
establish.
You think it's beyond the bishop?
Yeah, but I also say that I need a little bit of political satire to swallow this with. I may choke. Here we go. The Public Disclosures Committee chairman said office inaccessibility and facility issues, including mold, have slowed the processing of this year's public disclosures of public officials.
Can I have you pause there?
Yeah.
What was the last excuse he gave?
Okay, he was in Grenada when he sent us a missive, and it was like, do you see all the technology these by them have? We only have two-word processor and a rotary phone. If we operationalized our office with new technology, maybe we could get them out in time.
So it's since he didn't mention it this time,
Yeah, well,
can I assume that perhaps he got some kind of laptop and now the previous one has been updated, but now there's a new reason?
no, because if they got like laptops, then they would have been able to work in any office that they could find a chair
What about
at.
a big desktop then?
No, because the desktop in the office with the mold, obviously, beige computers carry mold, Mr. Newry.
Yeah. Let's go to this call and then we have you finish read the article because I'm listening now to see what is the reason why again. Because every year he gives a good reason now, right? And now this is
see, 'cause
brand new.
Mold is a good reason.
Yeah,
I ain't going into no office with mold.
I agree. But this is a brand new
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
So I need to know where his office is so I can see if they close that down, if it's still operational, or they forcing Bahamians to inhale this mold. But let's go to the caller first. Go ahead, caller. Guardian Radio AM. Call again once. Call again twice. Hang that up. Go ahead, Aaron. Finish that.
All right, quote, we've had some setbacks, close quotes, said Bishop Victor Cooper 4 days after the deadline passed for public officials to declare their assets, liabilities, and income. Quote, we've got a situation where the office is unable to operate as it should. That slows down the process because we don't have access to our facility, close quotes.
They do not have access to their offices.
But because here's the thing, if you know that you can't access your office, why you send the documents there? Why you didn't send it to a different office where you could have access?
I'm assuming they don't even meet. Because one would assume they're in a new office and they continue to work. But they seem as if they are all home. Not with any computers, but work stop.
Now, in terms of security, like I could appreciate this idea that this information cannot be disseminated on laptops or computers that are not a part of the government's network. Maybe I could appreciate that. I could appreciate that.
Remember the lawyers and accountants used to dial into work. They all were home during COVID, doing work.
This is true.
Yeah, so I hear that excuse. Let's go to the callers first and then continue. Go ahead, callers. Guided Radio AM.
Yeah, boss. These fellas just don't want nobody know what's going on in their business. You know, it's too exposing them too much, so they rather make all kind of excuse. Thank you.
You don't believe it's a good excuse? Let's go to the next caller. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear us?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Miss Karina. Good morning, Mr. Newry.
Good morning, sir.
All right, Papa, yeah.
Blessings.
It seems like this is intentional.
You think so?
Yeah, what the word is, I asked Lexa just now, is it duplicit or complicit? That's a C or a D?
Is duplicitous and
No,
complicit.
Duplicit. That's a D?
Duplicitous is a D.
Okay. I say the bishop should resign. Ask Mr. Davis, the Prime Minister, to give him a job where he can still be able to pay bills, because I think it's a paying job.
He's a nice guy.
But resign because it comes across duplicit, if that's the word.
It's duplicitous. Yeah.
Yeah, that's his office. Like, they ain't making no sense. And it seems like this is intentional. And if someone to take the blame, I don't know. You say you're blaming the Prime Minister for everything, but who to blame? He said the Prime Minister, he was the enforcer, the opposition leader, all of them. Duplicit.
Duplicitous.
It's intentional what they doing.
So, okay, so what you're suggesting is they are complicit in the problem, and their actions and their speech is duplicitous. Like they speaking out of two parts of them, out of two parts of their mouth at the same time and saying different things.
I think they trying to deceive us.
Okay, here's my
I
thing.
think what they're doing is intentional, and they know just what they're doing. They either think we all are stupid. People listening to you all doing smart as you all is, right? Trying to make sense of it. It don't sound good. It don't sound sensible. How you say complicated, problematic?
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Because there's another caller on the line, producer, before I respond. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, here in Newry.
Good morning to you.
Yes, Aaron, this declaration subject was something you commented on last month when you told them not to require people because none of them has disclosed, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. The bishop is the person responsible for receiving these declarations.
Yes. However, the chairman, he's the chairman, but the committee itself, the prime minister and the leader of the opposition, take the decision to actually gazette. I think it's not alone, right? And so in this instance, he does not necessarily have the authority to make the decision to gazette on his own.
Aaron,
Yeah.
same thing you said last month. When you said they can make their declarations in the local gazette personally, right?
Right. Individuals should be able to gazette themselves and say, look here, or publish in the papers, I'm not waiting for the government to do it. I want the people to know, and I'm willing to publish it myself.
And may I add to it, if they wanted to make their declarations, there's the registered mail in the post office system, that when you send registered mail to someone, that the person you send it to has to go into the post office and sign to receive it. That adds privacy to them making their declaration and sending it direct. If it has to be CA Newry that they send it to, then that once that registered mail, it has to be signed. He has to go in and sign to receive it, or it will be held there, and it will not ever be disclosed to anyone until the designated person who is sent to receives it. So when the caller before saying they're being duplicitous or trying to obfuscate the procedure, then that goes to the head of whomever is in charge of this process, right?
I mean, that's not unreasonable. Yeah, go on.
You see, but I hope the listeners get what I'm saying. I hope you all understand. All they have to do is implement a policy that you send it direct, or if it is the secretary or the director, you send it to them by registered mail, and that is how it will be secured privately. And don't worry about no office talk, but no mole and talk, but no. What they trying to say now, that the computers got a mole in it?
Listen, those beige computers could catch bug. Thank you very much, sir.
Finish read the article there.
All right. We go on. Ooh. He said he couldn't say who failed to declare and was unsure when the office issues would be fixed.
Indefinite.
He's the chairman, you know. See, you could. I know you can't tell me when they'll be declared, but you should be able to tell me when the office issues should be fixed.
No estimate date at all given to him.
The U.S. Department of State, in its 2024 investment climate statement on the Bahamas, highlighted the country's failure to release public disclosure reports for over a decade. The report noted that the Public Disclosures Committee has not published required reports for 13 years.
13 years.
With the last one issued in 2011, covering financial declarations only up to 2008. It also criticized delays in fully enacting anti-corruption laws and accused some Bahamian officials of showing a, quote, complete disregard, close quotes, for compliance with the Public Disclosure Act. The law requires senators, members of parliament, and senior public officials to declare their assets, income, and liabilities annually. Bishop Cooper has previously downplayed the committee's role in publishing disclosures, stating that while it completes reports, it does not have the authority to publish them in the Gazette, suggesting that responsibility lies with the Prime Minister and the opposition. However, the Public Disclosure Act clearly states that the committee itself is required to publish a summary of declarations once reviewed. Full stop. That's why I said that it's not him alone that makes a decision, right? And then the question is the authority or the powers of the PM and the leader of the opposition in their capacity on the committee. Mm-hmm. The article continues. The law also mandates that the committee report non-compliance to the Prime Minister and the opposition leader, who can escalate the matter to Parliament, the Attorney General, or law enforcement. While Bishop Cooper revealed last year that 90% of parliamentarians had met the March 1st, 2024 disclosure deadline, he acknowledged that several senators and senior public officials had failed to comply. Officials never disclosed who had failed to declare. Under the law, non-compliance can result in fines of up to $10,000 or 2 years in prison.
Let's go to this column. I give up on, only you want to ask for this, no, I give up on asking. I don't believe that our parliamentarians, senators, and the senior government officials should ever declare up on even asking. I don't plan to ask anymore, but you can bring it up and I'll join you with the conversation.
Well, listen, there's a follow-up article that I don't have in front of me right now.
Yeah.
I want you to go to the caller, and then when you're done with the caller, I just want to list some headlines that people could follow if they are interested in these conversations about compliance and legislation and regulatory mechanisms for anti-corruption initiatives within the government.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, caller. This is Guardian Radio AM. Can you hear us?
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Ms. Green and Mr. Newry.
Morning.
Listen, two things. I want to get back to the car situation.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I have witnessed this. Nobody tell me this happened or I went to the accident after it happened. I witnessed this accident right on the corner of Soldier Road and Robinson Road. It was a yellow Mustang, ran the red light, and a car hit him. And piece of the car went Soldier Road, the back part went Soldier Road, and the front part went down, going down from Charles Way.
Wow.
The car actually is brake right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then the police force came there. The police asked the people at the ambulance and being there. The man who's driving the car starting up right there. So I guess that just was at his time.
Yeah.
You know, but another thing too, I notice now my member of parliament is doing up a cleanup campaign moving derelict vehicles.
Who is your member
Every
of parliament?
derelict vehicle on the road had to be owned by somebody. You have to be able to trace the owner of this vehicle and charge them for the vehicle being moved.
Through the VIN number.
Every vehicle has a chassis number.
Mm-hmm.
The chassis number should be somewhere on the licensing thing when you go to license the car.
Mm-hmm.
Follow up on that and charge these people for moving these vehicles at the public expense. Is not fair to us. People who throw in oil, I mean, I think it's kind of hard to trace back a fridge or a washer or something. But a car, you should be able to trace that back to the rightful owner here in New Providence.
Well, listen, it's not as hard as you think because for warranty purposes, details of the exact item are documented, and then you know who you sold it to, and that's where you begin your investigation, the first point of sale. So you're right, sir. You're right. The resources are available to us to resolve these issues.
And let me comment on that thing with Victor Cooper. It can be a very long time before I believe what he say again.
Why are you doubting the bishop?
Hello?
Why are you doubting the bishop?
I know him personally.
Okay,
I know
but
him from his living on Palm Beach Street
Okay.
until they got rid of him to New Bethany. I
let's
know him.
let's stay away from
Oh, God.
let's stay away from the personal, okay? Because then you can
Yeah,
make
but
it
what
harder
I'm
for me to
saying-
crack jokes, man.
No, I ain't cracking joke. People see until you prove yourself different to me, I have to believe you on what I know you are.
Okay, but let's not go there.
Prove
No,
me
no.
different, then I think different.
Okay, but let's not go there with the bishop. At this point in time, we are going to presume that he is compromised the varying opinions in the committee, because although he is the chairman, he is not authorized to make the decision to gazette on his own. Nor is he authorized.
The chairman is the last stroke of the pen.
No, not in this instance. I think
What?
in this instance, the committee, right? See, remember we was having the conversation about how Pindlin put the thing in the Constitution to protect himself? What's interesting about this act is that it appears it was written in a way to ensure that the PM or the leader of the opposition, but primarily the PM, is always a part of that decision of whether to gazette or not. And
So
so,
the bishop is only collecting his salary then.
I mean, if you want to say it like that, why you didn't let me
That's what
crack
it
a
is.
joke?
You don't have the final say in any position. The chairman has the final say.
I know, that's why I'm saying it appears as if this commission, this legislation was constructed in a way that gives the prime minister the ultimate authority on going forward with both gazetting and prosecutions of those who fail to declare.
In closing, sound like the prime minister should be the chairman.
I mean,
Like I have the land, like I in charge of land.
Mm-hmm.
You do that too.
You see how I almost choked just now? That was me choking. I wasn't agreeing. I just almost choked. Thank you very much, caller.
Yeah, good.
We have another quick caller there, too. So let's go to that caller. Go ahead, producer. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear us?
Yeah, Miss Green, what are they selling and putting the Constitution to help yourself, and why you do it?
Okay, remember we were talking, the question was raised on, can you remove a sitting prime minister with a vote of no confidence? Right? And learned jurist and Sean McQueenie engaged in a brief debate, and my reading of the debate resulted in this conclusion that Pindling created a thing that's referred to as a Pindlingism that protected his power and authority. So if he lost the vote of no confidence and he didn't resign and he wasn't removed as leader of the party, when they return to the House, if he still remains as leader of the party that controls the majority of MPs in the House, then the Governor General has no other option than to reappoint him as Prime Minister. Now, there were arguments that, right, like that's an anathema, like that's antithetical, like the law could not have intended for that to happen. But again, until the law is challenged, right, until the law is challenged and deemed to be bad law, there's nothing you really could do about it. So that was the Pindlingism that I referred to, and I'm suggesting that perhaps the Public Disclosure Commission legislation was created with a similar type of Pindlingism that maintains the authority or the power, even though the authority is spread out among three people, the power to control whether things are gazetted or people are prosecuted remains with the PM.
Okay. Let's go to this caller. Do you have this list of things you want to read?
Yeah.
I see the Minister of Education is apologizing to UB students. I'm not sure if you see. I mean, that just happened just now.
Oh, okay,
but,
okay.
There was a letter from their students' union that is circulating, making its rounds through social media like crazy, and the students are up in arms, which is unfortunate. Apparently, this is a reoccurring problem. I'll forward that to you so you can read that too. But go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Newry.
Good afternoon to you.
Aaron.
Yes,
I
sir.
got it right this time.
Good, sir.
When you all were talking about the fire on Gladstone Road I was driving, And I always wonder about this one here on Wolf Road when I pass it. What they expect to happen when a fire starts there. And if, God help if we got a little bit of wind, because all the buildings around there are stucco buildings. Don't mind them looking like blocks. Only a few of them are cement. And that is going to go up like a matchbox. God forbid, that catch a fire. And it shouldn't even be in a residential area for one. I don't know how he got his license to open up a garage on Wolf Road, a junkyard on Wolf Road.
I trying to figure out how they get so close to you, the old property now. I'm telling you.
If those gas tanks for some reason blow, and that wind is blowing like it did the other day, God help the whole of Wolf Road.
Mm-hmm.
You think California burning down? This would be lit right up by a fire in the whole of Nassau.
There was a fire there before, maybe last year. Yeah. There was a fire there before.
Yeah,
it's small, but it's big enough.
Somebody with common sense need to tell that man he got to move from there, man.
Yeah, and there's one true
put
hospital
those
lane.
things in residential areas and business areas like that.
Yeah.
What you expect to happen?
Yeah.
On the fire trucks, then there's coming no water. So what you expect that by the time they get water there, Harbor Road, Wolf Road, all the way down to the red light by the gas station, the Shell and Esso gas station, the fire.
Yep.
Come on, man. These people don't think they don't care about us or do anything. That don't make a bit of sense to me. Now, who he paid? Because he had to pay somebody, because nobody with sense would let him put a garage in a main business and residential area. Now, I don't know how much he paid, but he had to pay a fortune.
We don't have legislation saying that if cars are stored in salvage lots or parts lots, that any fluids have to be drained from the vehicle and then disposed of according to environmental policy? Because, just seeking a compromise, it should already be in legislation that if you're storing a vehicle for salvage, to be broken down into parts, or even to be resold at an undetermined date, that you drain the vehicle of fluids according to the correct environmental policy. Mr. Newry, I see the phone is lit up. You want to go there and then I read the headline?
No, read the headline first.
Okay, so the first follow-up headline from today's discussion comes from the Tribune. April 4th, 2024, Mitchell disclosures none of your business. Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell said he was, quote, irritated, close quotes, about journalists contacting him about whether he had met the deadline for public disclosures, saying he thought, quote, none of your business, close quotes, in response to questions on the matter.
What date was that?
April 4th, 2024. This is last year.
Okay.
It's possible that we blaming the bishop is the wrong person. Because remember when the bishop said, in the second year, some of the people don't know that they're supposed to declare, nor do they know how to. So could be one of those people. Because if he knew how to disclose, how to declare, then he would understand why it is our business. Anyway, Mr. Mitchell's comments came during his contribution in the morning session of the House of Assembly. I hear you could say almost anything you want in the House of Assembly. Here are the other headlines if you want to follow up on this discussion. Henfield urges proper funding for Ombudsman Office, 3rd of March 2025. AG touts government action on good governance legislation. That's the 4th of March 2025. And he's talking about the Independent Commission of Investigations Bill, the Integrity Commission's Bill, and the Protected Disclosures Bill. Human Rights Committee holds first meeting after 2 years. Human Rights Committee still has not held meeting. That's a very interesting article because in the first article, it says they didn't have a meeting. It's on the 3rd of March. They spoke to the clerk. The clerk said they hadn't met. They're supposed to meet in January. In the second article that came out a day later, after saying that they spoke, they said that they spoke to the clerk, and the clerk said that they had not met yet, but it turns out they met February 27th. The members of the new Human Rights Committee it is chaired by Attorney General Ryan Pinder, Deputy Chair, which is a slight distinction, Senator Michael Barnett Ellis. Other members include Senator Aricia Hepburn Forbes, Works Minister Clay Sweeting, Seabreeze MP Leslia Miller Bryce, East Grand Bahama MP Kwesi Thompson, and St. Anne's MP Adrian White. The Bahamas plays a leading role in UN establishing a CARICOM High Commissioner for Human Rights, and Human Rights and Human Security Bureau attends National Women's Symposium. Did you know we have a Human Rights and Human Security Bureau? It was formed in 2023.
I know we have a women's bureau.
Yeah. Now we have the Women's Bureau graduated to a Department of Gender and Family Affairs.
Okay. Let's go to these callers. Oh, we're going to break. It's now, oh man, look how late. Callers, I see you. When we come back, we're going directly to you. I see there's like 3 callers on the line. And if you want to hang up and then call back, we're going to come directly to you. This is Guardian Radio AM. Of course, Aaron Green is with me. This is Wednesday, Man Down, Mashup Wednesday, where we combine both shows. We just going through the news and seeing what's happening, and we highlighting what's happening. We'll be right back.
Junior just showed me Bella Boy in his phone.
What you mean? He take picture of that good-for-nothing boy?
Shh, you don't want Bella here. You say that. You know she always say that's my good child.
So what he doing in Junior phone?
Oh, he there because the police looking for him. He on their wanted list.
Wanted persons in your phone now?
Yes, child. And when police want to find anybody quick, after something happen, they can send pictures direct to your phone. Go to Google Play or App Store and search for Crack Crime Bahamas, then pick install, and it will go straight to your phone.
There is also a section on missing persons?
Yes, girl. Everybody needs to get this app so police can tell us right away when these people go missing. Just like an alert system.
Yes, it has numbers for Crime Stoppers Bahamas, so you can call and nobody knows it's you. Call directly to Miami and get information without giving your name or anything about you. I tried it the other day, and when I hear Junior and his boys talking about where they hide those guns, I walk quick round the corner and call that number.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Bahamas, are you ready? The world is coming to Asan for the 2025 CONCACAF Beach Soccer World Cup qualifiers. March 11 through 16 at the Beach Soccer Stadium next to the Sydney Poitier Bridge. The Jungle Beach Boys, top 5 in CONCACAF, taking on Mexico, USA, and El Salvador. Beach party meets world-class soccer, non-stop action, jungle rhythms, great food, and pure vibes. And it's free. Bring your crew, ring your cowbells, beat your drums, no whistles. March 11 through 16 at the Beach Soccer Stadium. Visit BahamasFA.net for details. Bahamas Beach Soccer, pure vibes.
And welcome back to Guardian Radio AM. This is C.A. Newry on a Man Down Mashup Wednesday. On the break, we were talking whether the good bishop, the person responsible for these disclosures, if he needs to resign. And I told Aaron that's a given, but it ain't gonna happen.
No,
go ahead.
He should resign. Like, not that he needs to for his personal integrity, right? Like the thing you do is you resign.
I don't mind you. I ain't angry at him. You know. I'm just saying that thus far, he has proven to be unable, inept in producing and fulfilling his jobs. It's only honorable if I resign. I could not deliver.
Right.
And we move on.
My disappointment is that he didn't have more hilarious or amusing excuses. I wanted
I
something.
like the mole. The mole was good. That no one from his office, his team of 6, could go to work for the past couple, whatever.
Months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nothing has been produced. So we kind of anticipate by March 30th, the end of this month.
Right.
Do not anticipate that anything will be ready.
See, because I ain't sending anybody to work in mold, right? Yeah. But then what happened to 2024?
Nothing you should expect.
Right? Like, what prevented that? It's mold.
Shouldn't expect anything. Last time was the computers.
See, because he was in Grenada, I didn't expect him to say, I smell mold in the building, because he was in Grenada. He couldn't have smelled it at the time.
Last time the parliamentarians were confused. Remember, it's a continuous list. They didn't know how to fill out the forms properly.
The time before that, they didn't know that they had to declare.
I didn't know at all. Anyway, let's go to the caller. I'm sorry about that, caller. Go ahead. Did you get that article from the union? Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, but how you doing?
Richard, man, go ahead.
Hello?
Morning,
morning. You're live.
Hi, yes. On that garage thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The place on Wolf Road, right?
Yes.
The happening is, it's a danger. It's not the gasoline, Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because all that is seeping into the soil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Gas and oil, right?
Yeah.
the real danger, if there's a fire, is the plastic and the rubber.
And the contaminants in the air.
It burns longer, and the heat is more intense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And that probably is least. Okay. It ain't on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So our Bahamian is at the heart of our problem. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the next caller, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, caller. You're live. Go ahead, caller. Call girl one. Call a girl.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, yes. The Ms. Grain, were you talking about the paradox of 73-1 and 73-4, where you could have a no vote or no confidence in the prime minister, but then you go back to 73-1 for the appointment of prime minister as the leader of the party, and that's a defect within our constitution. And I asked this question.
You call it a defect, though. Some elders say that it was an intentional thing to the point where they call it a Pindlingism.
Right, but see, when these commissions was having, this is one of the issues I brought up, because what happens is for me, it allows that only the leader of the party would be appointed and except in slight conditions. So what happens is it's always the leader, where in other parliaments it's the member of parliament that has commands the most respect, rather than automatically making the leader of the party.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one point in your group that you can ask them. Ask them about number 54 in the Constitution. Number 54 is which sets the rules for referendum or whatever and changes the Constitution. But guess what? Number 54 is not protected by the Constitution. So they could go to Parliament, change number 54, change all of the Constitution, then come back and reinstate it.
Why say something so exciting amongst excitable people and don't expect excitement at the end of the show?
We can talk about it again, C. Allen. I appreciate
That's
it.
awesome. Thank you, C. Allen.
Okay.
That's exactly it. So you ready to read this statement, Mr. Newry?
Go ahead.
It's a memorandum from the University of the Bahamas Student Government Association, Refinancial Status of the University and its Impact on Students. Dear students, as we continue our academic journey through the spring 2025 semester, it has become evident that the University of the Bahamas is once again facing significant financial constraints that directly affect its students. As your Student Government Association, we believe it is our duty to seek clarity and transparency regarding these challenges and their implications for our student body. Underneath the Government Tertiary Grant Program, the Government of the Bahamas has borne the responsibility of subsidizing tuition and student aid at the University of the Bahamas, including the accommodations grant and the nursing and teachers' stipends. These financial supports are not merely privileges, but essential provisions that enable students to successfully pursue their education. However, the fall 2024 semester was marred by substantial delays in the disbursement of these critical funds. Students specifically of nursing and teaching majors found themselves unable to purchase necessary supplies and afford essential academic resources. Some Family Island and international students who rely heavily on off-campus housing face the threat of eviction, some of whom were ultimately displaced due to the lack of timely financial support. Regrettably, the challenges have persisted in the spring 2025 semester, with no payments from the university for any of these grants or stipends to date. This raises urgent questions regarding the financial commitment of the government of the Bahamas to its premier tertiary institution and, by extension, the development of the nation's future leaders. We must ask, has the government failed to uphold its financial obligations to the university, thereby placing thousands of students in dire financial straits? Has the government allocated the funds needed to support the tertiary grant to other ministries in light of recent allegations surrounding travel expenses?
Sure shit.
What priority does the government place on higher education and the advancement of Bahamian youth, especially when significant national expenditures suggest a misalignment of priorities? How does this ongoing financial concern align with the vision set forth by Sir Lyndon Oscar Pindling in 1974, who envisioned the University of the Bahamas as the primary institution to foster national development and intellectual growth. More specifically, how do these concerns assist the university in its efforts to seek national and international accreditation? The Student Government Association does not seek to cast blame, but rather to advocate for the students who are left in uncertainty regarding their financial well-being. We presume that these financial challenges ultimately stem from the government's responsibility to adequately fund the university. However, with unsurety, we seek clarity on why the university remains unable to fulfill its financial obligations to students. We wish to understand also what immediate steps will be taken to rectify this situation. We urge the government to provide transparency regarding its commitment to education and to ensure that the necessary financial support is made available without further delay. The success of our students and by extension the future of our nation depends on it. Sincerely, Student Government Association, University of the Bahamas.
Well, we have to go. We'll talk about this again. This is a serious thing, man. And it happens again and again and again, and it needs to be addressed. And I see the Minister of Education has addressed it. She apologized. That's all she did, but she apologized and said,
look, we get an apology.
At least we get an apology. This has been Guardian Radio AM. Have a wonderful day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.